So thank you everyone for joining. A very good morning and welcome to all to VMware and AspireNXT Carbon Black session. Um, all right. So, what we will do is we'll just go through a couple of housekeeping rules here for you. You will be muted automatically when you join. If you want to ask any questions during the webinar, let it be interactive. Please ask us as many questions as you want, but please do drop them in the chat box, and I, as a moderator, will ask our speakers your questions and get back to you. Slides and the recording of this session will be shared at the end of this webinar with all of the attendees. Apart from this, there will be a Q&A session that will be held at the end of this, towards the end of this session. So we look forward to a lot of questions from you. Now, start this session by talking a little about the host today, which is AspireNXT, and who we are. Who we are. So we are about a 10 to 12-year-old company in the business, and we are headquartered out of Singapore. We essentially started our business from hardware components. Now, in the last years, we have made a huge digital transformation for ourselves as well. And so we are a digital transformation company. We have physical presence in Singapore, Malaysia, and India. However, we have customers across the globe. So we have worked with over 500 customers and thousands of projects. Apart from this, we have built various competencies with a lot of cloud partners over the last over the last 5 years. VMware being one of our primary partners, we have acquired a digital workspace competency with VMware. Now I will move on to talk a little about our speaker today. So you all know that today's topic is VMware Carbon Black. And Anshit Arora is our speaker today. He is our cloud specialist and an expert consultant on Carbon Black. He's the one who basically bridges gap between business and technology. He has catered to multiple customers throughout these years and has helped customers uh, with um with bespoke solutions. With this, I will pass it on to Anshit to take forward. Anshit, over to you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Visha. Hi, my name is Anshit. I'm one of the cloud consultants with AspireNXT. And I'm going to walk you through a little about what Carbon Black Cloud is all about, what exactly we do. Nowadays there are new technologies that have been introduced. I would say innovations, not just technologies, so that we all would be able to grow a little, would know more about what exactly is happening, what exactly is the change, why, since the pandemic happened, there are more technological growth that has happened within the country, not just ours, but everywhere. So I've been this particular product of Carbon Black actually tells us what exactly is the difference between other endpoint securities and what difference will Carbon Black will make. So a little, I won't say it's a segregated product, but there's more to know about it. That's about threat hunting. That's about EDR. It's enterprise detection and response that I would say about. Other than that, I think everybody is working from home nowadays. Not everybody, but the organizations have started commencing their offices, which is why we all are in, and understanding what exactly is there for us. So yes, even if it's a hybrid model, this technology helps a lot. Moreover, the app control feature that it also leverages. I'm going to give you a demonstration of what exactly Carbon Black is in a little while, so that you would know that yes, how exactly app control will function. Moreover, responding, identifying risk. There are multiple, I would say, components of understanding how exactly it responds to the threats that are coming in, how exactly we detect those threats just by understanding the particular technology, by letting the admin creates his own alerts and policies that he has, prevention rules, how exactly will he be able to prevent things, USB storage, if a user who actually has an endpoint within his hands and an organization allows him to use it, what exactly can he block and what not? Now, knowing the competency of this product, wherein we get to know that yes, what feature it contains and what difference will it make in the market, will exactly be the reason why admins and organization would believe that yes, this is a blessing. Now, I think Rishu would be a part of this session to make us all introduced to EDR, what exactly it is, and we'll give a little brief about it. He's a part of InfoSec team. Rishu,
Thank you,
you
Anshu.
may.
Right. Hello, everyone. So I basically take care of the entire blue team practices. So basically, the entire blue team segment is like we need to deal with lot many threats in the day-to-day life, right? Um, Nick, if you can give the presentation here, that would be helpful. Okay. So as I mentioned, as I handle the entire blue team, so every day there is a lot of things that we need to go through, right? Maybe there is a new vulnerability, maybe there is a new indicator of compromise, maybe there is a new malware, and maybe there is some lateral movement which is going from one device to another device, right? So what we need a proper endpoint visibility and the operational intelligence of all the entire system, right? So how we can do that? We need an integrated solution who is having entire functionality in a single platform itself, right? We don't need to collect the logs from different platform, and after that we need to store in a single database, and from there we need to do all the intelligence and everything, right? So what we need a solution who is having all the functionality in a single standpoint itself, and it provides end-to-end visibility of the endpoint devices, like what kind of event it is generating in the machine, what is the real time visibility, right? What's happening with that particular machine, is there any incident which occurs, right? What is the severity of the incident, what process has been triggered, right? What particular port it has been opened. Everything we need a particular intelligence on it. So basically, here comes the EDPR solution in the market. EDPR is nothing but endpoint detection, protection, and response. So basically, there is fourth generation EDPR that we are talking right now. But when it was started, there is a very basic kind of functionality that we have. We just calculate the hash, and after that, we just match with a database, right? If that hash is been matched with that database, we say this is nothing but a malware. Okay, but nowadays we have done some automation, and automatically this process is happening. Automatically it will create the hash of any file, it will match with the database and give the output. But nowadays every day there is a new malware coming. Every day even I can also create some malware, you can also create some malware, right? So what we need, we don't need the signature based detection only, right? We need some solution who can automatically do the behavior analysis, right? So when I say behavior analysis, it means port analysis, process analysis, registry analysis, file behavior analysis. So if there is any file which is going to run into any endpoint, what port it is going to open, what process it is going to trigger. So we need a particular solution who can monitor the entire chain of activity and provide a chain of custody to us, right? So that is what the managed detection and response comes into the picture. It will not gonna only detect the malware, but it is also going to take the necessary action into it, right? So basically, there is a three-layer of detection technique that we use in any kind of malware analysis or a malware detection. I'm just going to demonstrate you practically. After that, we'll jump into the slide. Basically, there is a three kind of analysis as I mentioned. One is the static analysis, second is the dynamic analysis, and third one is the hybrid analysis. Static analysis is something like that where we don't have to run any file, right? We are just going to calculate the hash and do the signature based detection. So without running the file, if we are able to detect the malware, that is what the static analysis. Dynamic analysis is something like that when you are actually running the malware in a sandbox environment, in a controlled environment, and where from you are doing the behavior based analysis, and then only you are able to figure it out this is a malware or not, right? And third one is a mixed approach, which known as the hybrid analysis, where you are going to take the some snapshot of the RAM and you are going to do the proper RAM carving and the RAM analysis. Based on that, you will figure it out this particular file is a malware or not, right? So basically, I have just created a web shell. Web shell is nothing but whenever you are going to run this particular file in any kind of endpoint system, it will provide a reverse connection to this particular IP address and it will give a connection to this particular port, right? So this is nothing but a kind of malware, a kind of Trojan that I have created, and it will give a backdoor to us, right? Whenever any system will run this, we will get a particular backdoor and we are able to establish a connection with this particular endpoint device, right? Now, this is the malware that we have. Now, the first thing that I'm going to demonstrate is the static analysis. So for the static analysis, as we all know, we have a solution called Virus Total, right? Which is a collective database of all the integrated antivirus platform, right? The moment I will run this particular file, many of the antivirus will able to detect this particular file as a malware. As you can see here, out of 61, we have a 61 EDPR kind of signature database, but out of 61, 24 is able to detect, right? I have created this file yesterday, so maybe that hash is been shared with lot many antiviruses, but initially it was 3. So the moment attacker will see this, what he will do, he will encrypt that particular file itself, right? He will do the encryption, or maybe he will use some packer, and after that many of the antivirus will not able to detect, right? Here itself, if you can see, McAfee is not able to detect, Symantec is not able to detect, right? Train Micro is not able to detect. Let's suppose that if I have a Symantec antivirus, right? What will happen? My Symantec antivirus will not able to detect this particular file as a malicious file. In that case, what we need a solution who is having analytic feature, who is having behavior based analysis feature, right? Who can does the behavior analysis of the entire file and give the proper picture to us, right? So for this, we are going to use a sandbox environment called hybrid analysis. What we are going to do here, we are going to run this particular file in a simulated environment, maybe in Windows 7, or we can also use some cross platform. Basically, in the malware analysis, what we do, we always use cross platform. So we are going to run this particular file in Windows 7 here. And after that, we'll see what is going to happen in the behavior analysis. So I have already done it for you because it will take some time. So what happened, the moment I run this file in a Windows or in a sandbox environment, it is giving me a threat. It is a malicious file. Threat score is 100 by 100, right? But AV detection, if we have a signature based antivirus detection, it is only 36%. It means out of 100, only 36 people are saying this is a malware, right? But when we are doing the behavior score or behavior analysis, it is giving me 100 by 100 this particular file is a malware. In what ground it is saying, what is the indicator of compromise where it is claiming that this file is a malware? So in this is what it is known as tactic, techniques, and procedure. Whatever the file is going to do, we are capturing it and we are creating some IOC with that. So first IOC is nothing but JavaScript. It is having a feature of JavaScript, and that JavaScript it is executing without taking the permission, right? So this is one IOC. Second IOC is credential API hooking. It is trying to gain the credential access and it is collecting some information from the registry, and also it is doing some query registry and lot many system information discovery it is doing. So likewise, this is what it is also going to give you the proper details what this particular file is going to do, right? Based on the behavior, based on the what kind of process it is triggering into the system, right? So that is what we required. So it can give us the proper intelligence, the proper behavior analysis, and based on that we can understand, okay, why this particular file is a malware? Because of this many kind of, it is trying to hack the credential, it is trying to do the query registry without letting the user know. So likewise, there is a lot many features that we are able to see here, right? And that is what we can conclude, that this particular file is nothing but as a Trojan, right, in the behavior based analysis itself. Now, one more thing I just want to add here. Basically, whenever a malware is going to run, if there is a two kind of category that we need to understand. One kind of malware is virus and worm. Second kind of malware that we have is Trojan, spyware, ransomware, and all the other things. First kind of malware is virus and worm. What they are going to do, they are going to kill the system resource, whatever the system that we have. It is just going to destroy the system resource and just wanted to do some kind of bad activities. But when we talk about the Trojan, spyware, and all the other stuff, it is going to create a backdoor in your system and try to establish a remote connection, and it will transfer a lot many files. So the very first important thing that we have to analyze the port. Let's suppose that this is my endpoint system, and in my endpoint system, what is happening? What kind of port it is has been opened. So whatever you will see in red, it means it is closing the connection. Whatever you will see into this yellow, this is what the file transfer is happening. And whatever you will see in green, it means some kind of port is opening. So as we can see here, there is a lot many connection which is happening from my device, right? And this is all are the public IP, as you can see here, right? So this public IP, as you can see, the local port is nothing but 58,166. It means this all port are nothing but RPC port. Like 49,000 series port or and greater than 49,000 series port, these are nothing but the RPC port, right? So there is a lot many public IP and lot many connection is happening through some kind of open port, and this open port is being opened by this particular file itself. So are this file safe? Why there is so many data transfer is happening? So there is a lot of question that we have, right? If I have an intelligent EDPR solution in my device, it can automatically detect and automatically kill that particular, this particular process itself and kill the entire chain, right? So I don't have to worry about, let's suppose that I have a very crucial server, right, where there is a lot of public IP connection is happening, lot many things is happening. So like I cannot do lot many times malware analysis and the entire process, right? So for this, I need a solution who can does the job for me, and I will just get some alert or maybe some kind of incident which I'm going to analyze further. Also, there is a process called process tree analysis. It means whenever a process is going to run, what it will does, let's suppose that here there is a major process called explorer.exe, right? This is what a part of the process analysis. So in that, what you are able to see, there is a lot of process tree is happening, right? So what process is doing what, right? Everything you are able to get the visibility here. But let's suppose that if I only check the system or task manager, what I'm able to get, only able to get there is one PID for the explorer.exe, and this all files are nothing but the subtree of this particular explorer.exe itself. So whenever a malware runs, what it will do, it will first find a legitimate process and it will migrate the entire process through into that particular process itself. So it can hide and nobody, no antivirus can detect it and eliminate it. So this is what we are going to talk, and this is what we require in an intelligent EDPR. All the three kind of detection technique: static, dynamic, and the hybrid analysis. And based on that, it can claim this particular file is a malware or not.
Thanks, Reshu, for giving us a brief. Yeah.
Just a second. Next slide. So that we able to got here static, dynamic, and the hybrid analysis, and that is what we have talked about just now, like how we can detect a particular file or detect a particular malware based on this kind of three technique mechanism. So basically, there is a six key expect, like based on that, any EDPR should build on, and like it can provide a endpoint operational intelligence and endpoint proper visibility. So first thing is the real-time visibility. We need a real-time visibility, what is happening in the real time in any kind of system that we have, either it is a normal system or my desktop node or servers. So I need a real-time visibility so that I can take a real-time action into it. If there is any malicious connection or anything which is happening in my system, I should able to know and I should take the necessary action. Second thing, intelligent threat database. We should have an intelligent threat database where we are having all the malware collective database and any kind of hash. Like let's suppose that if there is any new malware, so it can automatically update the entire database, and we should have the proper entire intelligent database. Third thing, which is very, very important, as I mentioned, detecting of the IOC, port analysis, process analysis, file analysis, registry analysis. So this kind of basic feature that we required into the behavior protection and the behavior based analysis. The fourth thing that we need is the insight and intelligence. If I say credential hooking is happening, why the credential hacking or credential hooking is happening, what process it is, what process is doing the job, right? So that I can eliminate that particular process. So that we need the proper insight and the intelligence. Also fast response. If I say EDPR, endpoint detection, protection, and response. So response means if there is any threat which is able to detect by the endpoint device or by the endpoint agent, it should eliminate the threat right away and take the necessary action. Maybe later they can give us one alert, or maybe they can do some kind of incident handling later on. And six is the cloud-based solution, or maybe some kind of hybrid-based solution. So some servers we have into the our entire in our own data center. Some servers we have into the AWS, Azure, or something like that. So it should have a cross-platform sync-up mechanism, and there is a hybrid kind of mechanism where we don't need to worry about the platform and where that particular server is there, right? So if I have a one solution in anywhere, from anywhere, I can control that particular solution, and the EDPR should be on a SaaS model so that I can access that particular product from anywhere. Now, vulnerability management and asset management. This is one of the very key challenge for any of the large infrastructure. Let's suppose that I have 1,000 device, right? So in each device, whatever I have shown, it is a case in each device, right? Likewise, I have 1,000 device. So how I am able to going to manage it? So for this, any kind of system admin or maybe security analyst, they use various tool like maybe Nessus, maybe some kind of Qualys scanner. Maybe if they do the pen testing, they will go for the Kali Linux and some kind of basic scanner. And also they are having the proper SIEM solution itself. From that, they do the regular scanning maybe per week and everything, and based on that they find it out a list of vulnerability, and maybe they will do the proper patching afterwards. So it will consume lot of efforts. What we can do is, if we have an intelligence VMDR solution who can automatically detect any kind of vulnerability, it is not going to detect only the malware, but it is also going to detect the vulnerability of that infrastructure, vulnerability of that particular system, and not only going to detect the vulnerability, it will also take the necessary action to patch those vulnerability, right? So it is kind of vulnerability management approach, and it will detect the vulnerability, prioritize it based on the severity, based on the CVS score, and based on that it will take the necessary action. It will also help to understand any kind of security analyst or maybe system admin that this thing and this is the process recommendation. Based on that, you can scan your entire system, and this is the new malware is been come up, and this is the new CV that we have. Based on that, this asset may be vulnerable, and based on that, you can patch this entire asset management or entire asset system, right? So this kind of solution we required, so that in any VMDR or any EDPR solution, we should have a threat analysis, we should have a static dynamic analysis, behavior based analysis, and also if possible vulnerability management as well. Now, this all thing, whatever I have explained so far, everything is been integrated with one platform, and that platform is nothing but the Carbon Black. In the Carbon Black, you are able to get is the next gen EV and the proper SOAR technique. Based on the SOAR, you are able to do the proper sandboxing and static and the dynamic analysis. So let's suppose that if a new file comes in and I have a Carbon Black in my system, what will does, it will automatically run that particular file in their own sandboxing environment, and when that particular file is clean or found to be clean, then only it will ask administrator to run that particular file. So this is what we have, a double layer of protection. It is not only going to do the signature based detection, it is also going to perform the entire cycle of malware analysis and proper provide a visibility of the malware analysis functionality. Next thing that we have is the incident management capability. Whatever the incident, it will find it out from the different system, from the different machine. It will give a collective information in a single dashboard, where from you can understand what particular incident has been generated in what days, right? What is the indicator of compromise, for what reason this is triggered as been alert or maybe as an incident, right? It will also provide a real-time visibility and the remediation query as well. It will give you the remediation steps, and also it can remediate and take the necessary action. Advanced threat hunting, as I mentioned, it is having a capability of the vulnerability management. So it can not only detect the malware, it can also do the entire scanning and the vulnerability management functionality, and eliminate the vulnerability as well. So this is what we have, and it is also having certain control of the application whitelisting. Let's suppose that I have an application server. In that application server, lot many injection, lot many things which is coming from the outside. It can also scan those all functionality, and it can also give you the proper alert that this is nothing but a cross-site scripting. Maybe it has been detected as a HTML injection, or maybe different kind of injection. So in this, it is providing you a proper visibility and the proper endpoint security approach. So I'm hand overing to Anshit to continue further.
Thanks a lot. I would say you have briefed it all already, Rishu. That's how exactly an endpoint security functions. But I think the competency has also been shared, that what difference will it make when it identifies the risk? The components that actually are available within the security actually tells us how different will they be from the any other endpoint security that we compare it to. Let's suppose we are actually running a detector and response uh, alert on the system. The very system that we're going to access, or a very endpoint that we're going to access, could be Mac OS, could be Linux, could be Windows 10. If we are accessing it on any of the cloud securities, it actually tells that how exactly that security will going to prevent it, or I would say the signature, the hash verification that's going to happen in the backend will going to take place just in front of us, so that we would know that yes, if it's vulnerable, it's going to detect it then and there. Containing what exactly is there, understanding how exactly these things will function, app controlling of that particular app, whitelisting, as Rishu said. So this particular technology helps us understand how exactly we whitelist it, how exactly we can integrate them with any other solution, be it it's any of the MDMs or any other solution that you make use of. At the same time, it tells us that yes, this is how we can move forward, this is exactly how we can look inside that particular feature, how exactly we're going to go inside and we're going to monitor the particular task. Doesn't matter if user is away from his desk, doesn't matter, the sensor actually tells us that yes, after every 5 minutes the device will gonna sync, and just by that sync we'll have a verification of that device, if there's anything detected, if there's anything inside, if there's any change that has been made to that device. Just when we block the URLs for, I would say, any of the employee of an organization, the moment we block that particular URL, we would like to know why exactly was it blocked. Just when a user would like to attempt it, he doesn't get any message. So the sensor also let you make this particular URL visible for that particular user so that he knows that why exactly can it be blocked. The sensor gives the information about that particular blocking feature, that why exactly was it blocked. Even the USB storage, if I'll talk about, if a user is using one of the USB storage devices with his endpoint, the moment he plugs it in, he wants to know that yes, if he'll be able to use it. Admin has the right in his hand to allow it, to block it, to, I would say, terminate that particular process that actually was running, so that every time that particular process would be running on that device, admin will not just be aware of it, but he also has the right to take actions against it. So it not just analyze, or it not just lets us know that yes, this process is running, but it also gives us the function to block or terminate or deny that particular process that's going to work inside. Now, knowing more about the on-prem, just when we want an on-prem solution to work, it also gives us the leverage to know the inventory data by legendizing this particular technology with the on-prem and the cloud solutions. We just can merge them. We get to know that yes, these are the endpoints that we manage, and this is how vulnerable can it be, how exactly we're going to audit it. So what exactly the best feature is, Rishu also informed about the audit and remediation. When we talk about auditing it, and just we talk about the remediate feature, what exactly it does, it provides us an option of a live query. Let's suppose we are not aware about a particular device that we are using or an employee is using in an environment, and could be possible that we would like to quarantine the device due to the network threats or any of the ransomware that must have attacked, or any attacker who is ahead of the admin who is using that particular device, and he wants to know how exactly can I control that device and how can I block it from the network so that it will no longer be connected. At the same time, what exactly happens is we can run a live query. We actually can run it on the device so that we know that yes, if this particular query is working on the device, what exactly the status is, what exactly is happening in the backend, what exactly is happening on that particular solution that I'm making use of, so that am I aware, or if I'm away, I actually can detect it and take actions that could actually block it away. Also about the alerts, as I said, all these process analysis, process triage, investigation of the particular cause that's happening within the remediation feature that we have been introduced, the policy that we can design by ourselves, also by, I would say, enforcing it. If an admin would actually like to enforce a particular policy, just by creating one, adding the features, prevention measures, or rules that we create. I just won't say that we create the rules, but it also leverages to create it or to modify it the way we would like to, so that we also have a feature that yes, this is the query that we're going to run, this is the policy that we have already enforced, what exactly is going to detect inside that particular solution or UC solution that we are using. Whatever is happening within the backend would also be visible just by knowing that yes, this is the technology that I'm accessing, this is what the particular query was created, the enforcement of the policies that took place, that yes, this policy is working or not, if this endpoint is supported to the particular enforcement policy that we have created, the endpoint that's actually marked, or I would say it's flagged, or any other color that you're going to see in the console, will let you know that yes, this is exactly how it's going to function, how exactly it's going to raise that alert in the console, and how exactly it's going to alert the user also. So the admin also have the privilege to alert the user, as I said. These sensors that I've talked about, it actually gets installed on the specific device that we make use of. Every platform that I've talked about, we also have the leverage to install it through a command line that would be available. I'm going to show you what exactly we're going to do and how exactly we're going to install it. So you're going to see it in a little while. And also about the security model that we have in front of us, it tells us about that particular alert, that how exactly we have been alerted, or if we have allowed this policy to work within the system. Is it denying the operation, is it denying the process that's working in the background? Doesn't matter, it's an executable, it's any other file that's working in the backend. We should know that yes, if this file is harmful, if it's going to take any negative action to our devices that we already use, what exactly will it gonna do, how exactly we'll be able to change this particular device or would be able to quarantine it before it impacts the complete environment that we have, or what exactly the function is. Now we are just going to demonstrate what exactly is going to happen. So this is how the Carbon Black console looks like. How exactly we're going to take you forward is to knowing the endpoint status, what are inactive, bypassing them, active solutions, known malwares, and this is something that we can modify. So you also can create yourself whatever it thinks that yes, this is right. So you also can create it by yourself if you would like to. There are modified policies that allows you to customize it. That's one of the options. And I'm going to take you forward with the alerts that we have been talking about from a little while. Just 1 second. So the alerts, I'm just going to clear it once. It also has the group alerts that I can turn off or I can turn on whenever required. So I would be able to do that. So first of all, I'll take you through the endpoints. I would rather click on it to make you aware of the endpoints. So the number of devices that you enroll, as I said, they have sensors. They help us detect that yes, this is the device, this is the version, the OS model, and it also gives us the filter that helps us check that yes, what devices and what policies are being applied on that particular device that we are accessing. We also can mark it, we can query this asset if it allows us to take actions, that what action should we take. It helps us know that yes, this is exactly how we can query it, what action has already been taken, the version of the sensor, how moderate it is, and also about the target. We also can change it to medium, low, and high as per the priority and as per the business operations, that yes, what exactly is the requirement of the organization that they would like to set up. And the sensor update status, if there's any, they're going to help you know that yes, this is when it exactly was updated, exactly will going to take place, and will let you know that yes, this is when it got completed. Endpoints would not just be a part of the console, but it actually tells us about the activity that's been happening in the backend so that we can go ahead and quarantine them. It also gives us an option to quarantine them if we would look into it. I'm just going to scroll down a little. These are the sensor options. We also can manage the sensors, delete sensors to the deregistered devices. If we're going to stay active, how long can it be? How can we deregister them from the VMs if we have created any within our environment? How exactly can we deregister those devices? There's also a code that we make use of before we actually add that sensor within our environments so that it could tell us that yes, this is exactly what's happening in the backend, and the device updates the console, as I said, after every 5 minutes, that yes, this is the policy that you are making use of. So whenever you investigate any process, how exactly it's going to function, the number of application, the devices, how exactly is the network, what exactly are you going to present at the same time if the vulnerability is there. So I'm going to take you through this critical vulnerability. Now, the vulnerability that actually gets detected lets us know more about the console, that yes, this is what's happening on that particular endpoint. The VM that we actually have, if it's detected, what exactly it is, what device is it, what version are we going through. So it gives us the criticality of every important, moderate, and low set that we actually have set that criticality to. So the number of devices that we see, the number of products that we see, the number of exes that are working in the background tells us all that yes, this is what's happening, and this is how we can eliminate it, because as I said, we just don't analyze it. This exactly will gonna take actions against it so that we can eliminate the process then and there. Now I'm just gonna switch it to different mode. Now, with the policies that I actually talked about, how exactly it's going to be monitored, the virtual desk. If you wanted to create a policy, you are free to. You just can go ahead and create one policy by yourself. You can target the value. As I said, you can keep it on high, low, and medium. How exactly it's going to work, how exactly you're going to see it. The preventive rules. It actually considers the path, that what path it is allocated to, and you also can run a test rule if you would like to, so that you can see what exactly has happened to this device in last 30 days, if there's any event, if there's any policy that's actually being a part of this particular application path. So, what exactly has happened on that particular step? This is where it shows. Blocking and isolation, also one thing that it's going to take precedence on this isolation and blocking rule. So it doesn't matter what exactly it's going to block. If it doesn't allow the path to actually block, it will not going to block any of the features as per the rule that's being created. So knowing the malware, what are known malwares that are actually available within the environment, if you're going to test and terminate, there are two rules. As I said, the actions actually allows to deny the process or to terminate it. If I click on the 91 events of the 10 devices, it's going to show me what difference will it make and what all events would be there, so that we can block them before it's going to hamper the environment. So it is actually blocking this set of policy. The application was prevented from accessing the file due to the deny operation or terminate process policy action. So this particular action that we took actually has blocked the set of policies. Also, it's going to show us the TTPs, as Rishu said, tactics, techniques, and procedures. So it tells us a lot about that particular asset that's actually being blocked or being denied from that particular set of operations that you are about to do. So it doesn't matter what exactly you're doing, the parent process shows it all. That yes, this was the exe. I can click on that particular technique so that it shows me that yes, process tried to obtain the list of other process executing on the host, and it was actually denied as per the operation that has been set. So every policy that an administrator is going to set will have the leverage to edit it. Doesn't matter what the time is. If he wants to change it anytime, he can go ahead and enforce the different kind of policies that they actually have access to, so that every time they're going to access the set of policies, they know that what am I running, what exactly my environment is blocking, so that I'll be aware that yes, this process should run and should not. It tells us how exactly it's being signed, run malware app. So it's going to execute a malware application. So we actually should block or quarantine the device as soon as possible, so that it will no longer connect it to any network and would be able to secure the environment as soon as possible. And that will also going to happen by a notification that a user would be allowed to do. He'll be notified about every different activity that yes, this is happening. And as I said, we also have the leverage to check this, that if you're going to block that particular device or if you're going to quarantine it, so admin can actually set that policy for the user, so that he'll know that yes, this is the device. Within the prevention rules, it gives us the policy so that we can actually take actions. USB device blocking, that I already talked about, that yes, if there is any USB storage device that's connected, you actually have the leverage to block it. You actually can allow that device to be connected so that the user can make use of it. If you don't want that to happen, you actually can block it, and setting up the priority for letting him know that yes, this is what the function is and this is what we are about to do, so you'll all be aware about it just by the message. That's exactly going to be through the sensor. So the sensor actually gives us an option to show the user that yes, this is the policy, this is how we're going to block it, this is why we actually took an action, because we have set this policy within our environment that we don't allow any USB storage or any device that could take place. And the local scan, if you have enabled it, so it scans the number of files that you actually have downloaded. Doesn't matter what the source is, but if you have downloaded it, it's going to scan every single thing with a control signature updates that yes, every hash that's going to be installed on the device will be verified. Every hash gets verified that actually is available on the endpoint, be it what platform it still is going to be verified by every scan that's going to happen within the system, by every operation that's going to take place, so that we know more about it. Slowly and gradually, it also tells us the size of that particular, I would say, the binary, the binary details that we're going to get about that particular exe that we have blocked, how delayed that process was, what was the risk level, what exactly is the platform that was actually blocked due to what operation, what exactly is the uninstaller code that we make use of. So there's more to it. So just when we access the cloud scan, we know that yes, the delay the execute for cloud scan, wherein we would be able to delay every executable. If we don't want the scan to work within 5 minutes, we also can delay the sensor scan. It's not that we can't. It varies that every condition, the variations that are taking place, it just helps you know that yes, this is the delay that you can do. This is the variation that you can actually modify the way you want to, so that every change that's going to happen in your environment, you are the actual eye of the environment to know that yes, this is what the change is, and this is how I'm going to validate it, that yes, how exactly the scan should function, what policy I created, and accordingly the actions can be taken place, can took place by the admin who actually wants it to make those preventive measures inside the environment. Now, also the settings that gives us the leverage to create roles. Let's suppose if there are multiple admins within the environment and you actually want another admin to have the right, he also can get access to the console just by the particular admin condition that we have created for them. We can assign roles to the juniors or the subordinates who are available. We also can assign roles to the available people who actually want to see it, that yes, what exactly is happening and how exactly we remove those endpoints. If there's any leverage that you wanted to give to any other admin except you, doesn't matter it's a subordinate or someone who's superior, there are rules that an admin can actually create so that he actually can tell that yes, this is what's happening within the environment, so that we'll all be aware that yes, this is the change and this is what would be the next era of change before we modify that particular technique. All right, now is the time to shoot your questions. I would request you to paste it in the chat box so that we can answer them.
Thank you, Anshit. So basically, faster investigations and remediations, cost savings from simplified operations, and decreased risk of data breach. So I guess I summarized it a little. All right. Now, for the next 5 minutes, we would want to wait for your questions, and our speakers are eager to answer any of your questions and queries that you might have. All right. So we have one question from Frank. Um,
So exactly, Frank, an endpoint security. When we just talk about an endpoint security, it's not, I would say, any of the less, but the security actually tells us about an endpoint condition, that how exactly is it working, what exactly is happening within our environment, so that every time we're gonna push any of the security or any of the endpoints or the sensor that's actually notifying us about the device actually keeps us ahead of the attackers, because you never know what's gonna happen to the environment.
One more thing. See, there is a three thing that we need to understand: people, process, and technology, right? Technology, you can secure, you can have lot many security measures, you can do that, right? You can also make lot many process like ISO 27001, you can adopt and you can do the entire process chain and everything. But what about the people? Let's suppose that if I'm getting a new kind of link or new kind of malware, or any kind of file or something like that which is having some kind of malicious capability, what we required, how we can block it. So we need a EDPR solution to secure that endpoint device, because if that endpoint will able to execute that file, the endpoint will be the part of the network itself, right? So from host thread it will reside into the network thread and the entire organization compromise could be happen. Same that we have just witnessed with the Uber, right? So in the Uber, what happened? The user has shared a phishing link, or any the hacker has shared a phishing link. User is able to execute it, and the way he executed, he got the attacker got the credential, and after that he is able to do entire show. But if we have a proper protection measure into the endpoint itself, which can detect phishing link, which can detect any sort of malware, it can protect the endpoint device, and it can also provide a safeguard mechanism to the people chain itself.
Thank you, Rishu. Thank you, Anshit. I hope, Frank, that answers your question. We
Yes,
have another
definitely.
question um, from Tirtha. He is asking, does Carbon Black replace antivirus?
The answer is
Exactly.
yes.
Yep. You may go ahead,
The
Rishu.
Right. So the answer is yes, because it is not only the antivirus, it provides lot many solution like ADPR capability. ADPR, it means endpoint detection, protection, and the response functionality. So it will detect as an antivirus. It will also have threat intelligence features. It will also have vulnerability management feature. So in the antivirus functionality itself, we are getting so many protection mechanism, and it not about antivirus only works on the signature based detection, but here what you are getting, you are also getting a benefit of the behavior based analysis and proper visibility of techniques and procedure, right? So that kind of visibility you are able to get, and also when you will integrate with this in ev or this EDPR with the SIEM solution, you will get the entire chain of custody, right? What it is happening, how it is happening. So entire things you are able to correlate, and that is why it replaces the antivirus cycle itself.
So right, you are.
Thank you, Rishu. I hope, Tirtha, that answers your question. We have a question from Vivek. What is the difference between endpoint security and the network security?
So let me
Anshit.
take this question.
Yeah, sure.
So difference between endpoint security and network security. See, there is a two different kind of threats. First, we need to understand what kind of threats that we have. So basically, there is a three kind of major threat that we have. First one is the host threat. Second one is the network threat, and third one is the application threat. Okay. Host threat, it means specific to the system. Like this is my system. What kind of threat it could damage my system? This is all the host threat. Second is the network threat. Any kind of sort of vulnerability or lateral movement, like some port is opening, some process is there, some system vulnerability, some configuration vulnerabilities. So this all comes under the network threats, right? So when we are securing the endpoint security, we are only securing the system, whatever the system that we have. Either it is a database system, either it is an endpoint system, or a node, a laptop, or maybe a server, right? That is what we are going to secure into the endpoint security. But when I talk about the network security, it means zero trust security, zero trust policy, right? Network segmentation, so that the threats will not reside into the network and it is not going to damage my network, right?
Okay. Thank you, Rishu. Vivek, hope that is you got your answer. In case you have a follow-up question, you can post it. Any other questions, please post it to the group. What we will do is, in the interest of time, we might overrun this session by a few minutes. We will move forward. And in case you simultaneously get questions, please keep posting it to the group. We will try to address it after our next offers section, in case you have. So moving on, Anshit, would you like to take them through the bundles?
Sure. So this
Yeah.
actually has a difference about what exactly enterprise EDR has in audit remediation, what exactly advanced bundle has, and what difference the endpoint enterprise bundle will be considered about. As I told, that audit and remediation feature is actually about the live queries wherein customers would actually be able to search it online. The moment they actually have something in their devices and they don't know what's happening in the backend, and they actually want it happen at the real time. It's not just about the real time, but it's about what you want to know and what you want to see about and what device or what endpoint you're talking about. The moment you look into that endpoint, you don't know how exactly you remediate things. So just when you run a live query, you get to know that yes, this is exactly what's happening inside that endpoint. Now, according to that behavior, the differences between endpoint enterprise, advanced, and standard is about the features, where an endpoint standard would actually cover the next gen antivirus. It will also gonna cover the endpoint standard and the behavioral EDR. Other than that, endpoint advanced will cover not just a few things, but a lot about the risk, about the prevention rules that I made you aware of, wherein you can enforce the policies by yourself. You get to know more about the device assessment and the remediation. The moment you're gonna make it happen, the moment you're gonna make changes within your environment, you get to know that how exactly will it gonna function. Other than that, understanding, managing the alerts and monitoring the triage, wherein the process triage will let you know about every step to be ahead of attackers. You want to know that yes, how exactly this process is functioning, where exactly will it going to stop, how exactly and how sooner can I take an action on the behalf of an organization before this attack would actually lead to a specific process or to an exe wherein the TTPs will going to detect or will going to aware you that yes, this process was actually blocked at this point in time. Rather, it could actually block it far, or I would say prior to what it reached or what step it has reached, wherein you would also be able to take actions against, and you can modify or you can create set of policies to make that happen so that it will not gonna bother any of them. And accordingly, if any of the things that you're gonna like, you also can add it to the chat that yes, this is what the bundle is that actually makes it happening or would actually excites you about, so that we can take it forward.
Thank you, Anshul. Any questions around bundles? If you have, please reach out to us. Um, Next slide, please, Nick. Okay, so we this is what brings us to the end of this session. Thank you so much for paying attention in the last 1 hour with us. Please do reach out to us if you have any questions, queries, or any requirement. We have a proven expertise in VMware solutions. We have our contact details given over here, so you can write to sales@aspirenext.com, or you will be receiving an email with the presentation and the recording of the session. You can just simply revert to us on that email and reach out to us. It was a pleasure speaking to all of you, and I hope you had some key takeaways from this session. Looking forward to reconnect with you. Thank you so much.